so far, but I can't lose it.
It's a busy week in Birmingham, Alabama, excuse me, as not just the NTT IndyCar Series gets underway finally in 2021, but as well, the iRacing IndyCar Series returns for the year as well. Today, though, it's all about the start of a new week and the continued championship drama here in the iRacing IndyCar Open Championship. Hello and welcome back to RaceSpotTV and continued coverage here at the start of a brand new iRacing.com week as we get underway with our strength of field race and the championship drama that goes along with it. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. As always, alongside is Lorenzo Bonder in the commentary booth. We've got timing provided to us by our partners at timing71.org. You can head over there by using the link racespot.wtf/Indy to follow along with their world-class suite of data analysis tools. Lorenzo, let's dive straight into it and take a look at our schedule here. Round 5 of the championship, and we mentioned it just before we went on air. Brandon Traino has not really been able to mount a defense of his championship, and therefore we'll take a look at the championship standings in just a few moments here. But as we head into this middle portion of the season now, the championship picture, well, it's blown wide open.
Is blown wide open. If you guys thought, oh, Trainer might dominate this season, not like he dominated last one. It's a whole different scenario. It's wide open. You got Henry Bennett, we got Adam Blocker, we got Adam Crane, so many other drivers, and plus the ISOWC that you're probably going to mention later, Arjuna, kind of I think helps in that wide open proportions of the championship here in season 1.
Yeah, we've got Yao Vaz on the grid today, a former iRacing World Championship driver, so it just illustrates the strength of competition making their way over into the Dallara IRA team. We are here in Birmingham, Alabama. Excuse me, that is going to trip me up, it seems, a few times today. 16 turns, 2.38 miles. Home this week to the start of the 2021 NTT IndyCar Series. Today, though, round 5 of this championship, and it is the Brit Henry Bennett that leads the championship. He's already got 5 of these championships under his belt, but a 6th would not be too bad. But, of course, it's Adam Blocker who all eyes are focused on, because last week he missed out due to NTT IndyCar Series testing at the Brickyard. Lorenzo, he returns today and looking to get some much-needed championship points in what is a very strong field here today.
Yeah, it's going to be a very strong field here today, and so far Adam Blocker is doing that job. You know, he's putting the work so far with the half a second advantage as we speak on Henry Bennett. There's still a few drivers left to do their qualifying laps, but so far Adam Blocker with a little bit of resurgence. That Long Beach round was long needed for him to get on the points. For now, he's recording them bit by bit, but climbing up to the top once again.
Look at that, you're right. It's an entire half a second between Blocker and Bennett. Riley Thompson had a very impressive finish last night in the Indy Elite 500 from the Brickyard. Heads to the road courses 7/10 off. Yao Vaz on his debut, I think, on a Monday night. Provisionally in 8th as, Adam Crane goes up into 2nd. 4/10 separates him and Adam Blocker. And of course, Lorenzo, I mentioned the iRacing IndyCar Series, which returns today, rather this week for the calendar year. I always love these competitions that go across the traditional iRacing 12-week seasons. Instead, you go across the calendar year as well. And Adam Crane, your 2020 iRacing IndyCar Series champion, he'll have his own title defense to focus on later this week.
Yeah, he's going to have a little bit of a problem trying to defend that title because the competition is really strong, right? But still, it is a track that doesn't have a lot of overtaking opportunities. Qualifying over here is important. Every single position matters in the grid so far. Of course, we have that infamous turn 1 and 2 that lead into the hairpin up through 3 and 2 and 4. But anyway, qualifying here, I think more than Long Beach matters a lot.
You know, I think you're right there. It's a track where you can pass, but it's very, very difficult. Most of the cars are done, so we're not going to really get to take a look at an onboard lap during qualifying. But I think the main place that we might see passes happen, Lorenzo, is down into Turn 5, Charlotte's Web. And as well, if you're really feeling brave, I've seen over the course of the last 12 months, Turn 11 into the roller coaster section, drivers maybe a little bit over-ambitious. They make it too wide, but they make it stick as well.
Yeah, they can make it sick. It's not like a Laguna Seca where it's basically 90-degree turning. There's a little bit of a turn in. I would say last degrees, maybe 75 or something like that. You can make it work, be side by side. And the problems are the curbs because they have some small... Those bump curbs you have can offset the car if you try to go over there and cause a massive incident.
It really can, and I've been a victim of those curbs myself. That entire roller coaster section, I must say, Lorenzo, one of the best complexes on the entire NTT IndyCar schedule as well. Down the hill through 11 and 12. Then up you climb, trying to wait as patiently as you can to get onto the power. And then those final couple of corners, they require so much patience, but when you get it right, it is so rewarding.
It's so rewarding. In my opinion, a fall calendar that we have in the NTT IndyCar series, I love Barber. I really love Barber. Barber is such an underrated track for me. Of course, you don't have those overtaking opportunities like you probably have in Toronto. You probably would have in Dakota and Mid-Ohio. But still, it's a very nice track because it demands much more of the driver than the setup itself for you to stay clean, consistent all throughout the laps here on the track.
Well, the flag man is about to get the checkered flag in his hand, out for qualifying as well. Let's go trackside and take a look at the starting grid here then from Birmingham, Alabama. And on pole position, he returns to a Monday night. Adam Blocker by almost 0.4 of a second. A 1:36 nets him pole. Adam Crane completes the front row of the grid for VRS Satellite Racing. Henry Bennett leads this championship. He'll roll off on the inside of row 2. Riley Thompson in the Total Downforce Racing number 9 completes that row of the grid. Cesar Manzado back on a Monday for the North Sim Racing team. Alongside for him, Alpine Stars geodesic teammate of Graham Saunders, who we'll see later on in the grid. John Bodefor completes row number 3. Austin Espety for Team Talent in position number 7. On his outside, Yao Vaz, former World Championship driver back in the open wheel days, makes his debut on a Monday. Rashad Craig in the number 14 completes, on the inside, of row 5. Tyler Dubosch completes the top 10. Liam Quinn in 11th in the purple Team Talent machine, with Andrew Marquez on the outside in the 13 Dallara IR18. Connor Harrington, he's got a lot of work to do. He was quick in practice, but 1.7 seconds adrift in qualifying, a 13th for him, alongside Benjamin Gregory in the 19. Andrew Wood in the wood-colored Team Talent car. He'll roll off in 15th, alongside the hyperstar Brendan Lichtenberg in the 15 for Team I5G. John Weidendorf in 17th, the final car to set a qualifying lap time. Graham Saunders, one of a couple of cars not able to get the lap time done in qualifying. Cars have a full pace lap to work their way through. Final car on the grid, the Canadian Andrew Kinsella. He'll have a lot of work to do, as well as And like I said, full pace lap here, Lorenzo. It does mean that cars get an opportunity to build up some temperature into their tires. Take a look at the track conditions there. 39 degrees Celsius, and the important thing is every single car is on the red mark tire.
He's on the red mark tire. I think that will be the brand moving forward into this race. I think we might not see the black stripes or the full black tires into this race, where you might get a little bit more rubber into it on the long run. But it's still a very interesting race, nevertheless. And eyes on Hendrik Kinsel. He did very well on Long Beach. I can't wait to see what the Canadian does on this track.
Not sure if you know what the strength of field for this grid is, Lorenzo, but the lowest car out of 19 is 3,000 iRating. I have a feeling this will be one of the more popular Monday nights in terms of the points totals that we give out. And for Adam Blocker, trying to bounce back after a couple of disappointing points hauls earlier in the season, this is exactly what he needs. And from pole position, he's in the prime position to also dominate this race.
It's in a prime position. The lowest car in the grid, as I saw, I think was Benjamin Gregory with 3.1K iRating. So that's very good, and showed the commitment out of the guys to try to get into the top split. Out of everybody, we got 3 splits in this race. We got some good commitment out of the guys, which I like very much. So I hope that all 19 cars keep it on track, do a good battle, and we see some strategy calls midway through this race. It's 42 laps. Can't wait to see how it goes on the Alabama track.
Some new faces, some new names, some new paints as well. The lap record, a 106.6001, set by Sebastian Bourdais back in 2016. So that means that we are just about give or take on that pace. It will be interesting how much slower we are in the race trim compared to qualifying. But up the roller coaster we go. The pace car about to dive down onto the safety of pit lane. The field will be left in control of Adam Blocker, looking to reclaim his championship. Brandon Trano is in our YouTube chat saying you can't lose if you don't race. It's very true, but at the end of the day, championship then looks like it might be going back towards Powerslide Motorsports. Through the final corner we go. Very early jump from Blocker as we get underway for 42 laps here in Birmingham. You can already see Adam Crane has had to go defensive as we make our way down through the first corner. Quick left-hand sweeper that leads into a right-hand hairpin. Single file for the most part. You have to go all the way back to about 8th position to find someone trying to make a move. And it's, guess who? Yao Vaz down the inside of Austin Espety as we work our way down into Charlotte's Web for the first time in this race. Espety very deep under the brakes. As you see behind, there's a big checkup. Henry Bennett has gone off into the gravel. Lorenzo, not sure what's happened there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look on the replay because I saw Liam Quinn not having the best of starts, but it looks like Bennett just overshot his braking zone and just went straight into the grass. Luckily, I think no damage whatsoever for Henry Bennett, but thrown all the way back into the field.
Look at the chaos in the mid-pack. Adam Blocker has a little bit of a comfortable advantage. 1 second heading down into the roller coaster. Who's that running wide through the gravel? Rashad Craig in the Rebellion-colored machine. Just about hangs on to it. Side by side, though, with Liam Quinn through the roller coaster. Oh, behind them, here comes Graham Saunders trying to get to the inside of Andrew Wood. This is craziness on this initial start, but of course for someone like Saunders here, Lorenzo, he's trying to make up for a disappointing qualifying position. He's already up 5 positions then as we complete lap number 1.
Yeah, we complete lap number 1, and Graham Saunders with a good recovery, like going from P19 all the way down into P18, all the way up to P13, 5 laps to gain. And one of the things also we're probably going to be seeing over here is the usage of the push to pass, because I don't know how efficient it is in comparison to Long Beach, because you don't have those long straights, right? So I think commitment will be necessary out of the drivers to make some overtakes.
And a wonderful new addition to the RaceSpotTV graphics is that push to pass. As I say that, Rashad Craig gets on the button, and you see up on that ticker the screen illuminates, not just for the driver, but now our ticker as well. Shout out to Nick Thiston, who spent a lot of hard work getting that in place, and that will now illuminate for every single driver that uses the button, and also turns itself on and off exactly when the driver lifts as well. Let's go ahead and take a look, by the way, Lorenzo, at that replay of what happened to Henry Bennett on the initial start. You can see just down into the braking zone. Cold tires, locks up the right front, and off into the gravel he goes.
Yeah, off to the gravel he goes, and is one of those here's the thing, is one of those corners that you can easily overshot. It just comes up so quickly, and it's kind of blind, the entry, that you have to kind of early commit, lift a little bit, go on the braking, try to be aggressive into it, go first gear, just throw your car in, That's why it didn't happen for Henry Bennett.
Look at this though, Yao Vaz has just gone and passed John Bodefer. I think Austin Espety wants to get on around as well. Side by side, they work in towards Charlotte's Web. Over-under attempted from Espety in the 12 car, but I think good defense there from Bodefer, and he will fend off the challenge. Back in the pack though, we talked about the charge through the field, and in terms of movers and shakers, it really is Graham Saunders the biggest of them. He's up 6 so far. Yao Vaz is up 4, as is Connor Harrington. It's going to get increasingly difficult though, Lorenzo, as the field starts to get more and more stretched out. You can see Yao Vaz now 3 seconds behind Riley Thompson.
Yeah, and the one thing you really don't want to be is hung back behind the car and just trying to ride that draft out of someone, because I think in here, more than Long Beach, you get that aero push effect, especially into those high aerodynamic corners, like the roller coaster, where you might get thrown off and understeer the car. So you have to be very careful trying to push the car and then trying to make that move consistent and capitalize on it.
Yeah, no, this is a much more difficult track, I think, in terms of balance for the car compared to Long Beach, as you see Liam Quinn now on the button as well. I think trying to get on past Andrew Marquez, but nothing doing there. I will also say, before we get into car balance, let's talk about push to pass. The name is not necessarily as descriptive as it could be, Lorenzo, because it's not just push to pass, it's push to defend as well.
It's push to defend as well. There is no like in F1 you get the 1 second advantage you need to have to another car, and then you can use what they say, the DRS, and make the overtake. Over here you can use it as much as you want, but not as much as you want. You have 10 tries, but you can use it as any way you want. You just have to be conservative, of course, because at the tail end of the race you might not have one for the fence.
Oh, look at a little bit of opposite lock there required for Harrington, as car just pitched around on him as he entered into those final couple of corners. Great little onboard shot that we've got here, thanks to RaceSpot's own Tyler Maxson, heading down into turn 1. Looks like Bodefer has just gone and passed by Espety as well. Henry Bennett has had another small off of his own, so not being a good day for the British Racing Green Machine. Tyler Dubois on the button now, trying to get on past Cesar Manzado into Charlotte's Web. Forces his nose down to the inside. Is that going to be contact with Bodefer? Dubois makes that one work, and Lorenzo, what a move that one was. They're still side by side heading into the roller coaster section, but Bodefer on the button is going to fend this one off.
Yeah, he's going to fend this one off, but nice move from Dubois. A little bit brave from Dubois. We're going to see on the replay that move from Dubois as they go out of 3 into 4 right now. And then you can see already committing into the inside on the button. And then the late braking move, narrowly avoiding the number 6, and then narrowly avoiding Bodefer on the outside at turn number 5. But then Bodefer just manages to connect with the push to pass in the fence.
What a move that was, I must say. Didn't think that he was going to get that one stopped, but he did in time. I heard the sigh of, I don't know what to call that, relief from you, Lorenzo, but that was a close one.
Yeah. That was a
oh no, Graham Saunders! He's lost it all by himself coming through turn 1, and that recovery drive, Lorenzo, after a disappointing qualifying, has left Saunders back down in 17th. He'll be in 18th if he can't hold off Whitendorf now as well.
Yeah, all by himself into turn number 1, just lost the rear end of the car into the entry. I don't know if he clipped the glass or something like that, but the car just seemed way to lose on entry. Locked the brakes. That is going to hurt the tires quite a lot, and it's shown all the way back into P17.
Try and take a look at this aerial look brought to us by ATVO, the graphical partners at RaceSpotTV. I think he just tries to tuck back into line and doesn't necessarily slow down enough, and the rear end just steps around on Saunders. He falls back into 17th as mentioned. Lots more work to do for him. Back at the front of your field though, Lorenzo, Adam Blocker and Adam Crane, the two Adams, have checked out right now. Only 1 second separates these two cars. Riley Thompson is lurking if anything happens to them. Yao Vaz has not been able to make any inroads into Thompson just yet, but for his first ever IndyCar race, as far as we're aware, at least on this road side of things, a very impressive showing them from Vaz.
Yeah, very impressive showing from Vaz, to be very honest. I saw him doing a few IndyCar races sometimes, Arjuna. He's very fast in it, but I'm quite surprised with the pace he's been demonstrating in his first outing on the Monday nights. What I'm liking so far as well is the aggressiveness coming out of Connor Harrington, trying to make the move on Cesar Manzado, but just couldn't capitalize on the beginning of the lap. But really good battle for P8 so far as well.
Harrington, who is, of course, actually now with the private label Team Hype Machine, just have not updated those team info CSVs, so shows as NHR Esports and TQ Engineering. Teammates, of course, of Joshua Chin and Jason Brophy. Brophy, who is up in the top 10 after just 2 rounds of this championship. It's been very mixed results for the entire community as we ride on board with Harrington through these final couple of corners. You can see a little bit of aero washes, just tries to find the line, tries to make sure he doesn't scrub the front tires too much. As mentioned at the start of this race, Lorenzo, every single car is on the red mark tires, and we're not necessarily expecting that to change through this pit cycle.
Yeah, because it isn't a track that demands the black, all black tire to come up and change the strategy a little bit. You can go with the reds as long as you manage the brakes, right? If you don't get a lock like here at turn number 5 and then into the corkscrew as they're going to go in a little bit. But if you manage your brakes, if you don't lock them up, you're not going to get a whole decrease in the tire wear, and you can go for a really long run.
Battle for the top 6 has kind of stalled out here as Botifer has a train building up behind him. Espity has not really cleared him just yet, but Dubois, Manzado, Harrington, Quinn, Marquez, Wood, Rashad Craig, Benjamin Gregory, Andrew Kinsella, the names just stack on behind as 5th through 17th positions are still only separated by 8 seconds, so it's very much anyone's game in the mid portions of this race. Cycle through from the tire compounds to the movers and shakers here. We mentioned Yao Vaz up 4. Henry Bennett, of course, down 16 after that initial mistake that we saw from the British driver. But you can see here, Lorenzo, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. Kinsella's up 4, but he's not been able to charge through the field like we saw Graham Saunders able to do slightly earlier.
No, he hasn't. I think Andrew Kinsella, I don't know if it is kinds of comfort or Andrew has not been able to put the lap so far. Best lap was actually this lap for Andrew Kinsella, 108.317. But he's not been able to get around the 107s that I think you would need to get for you to be competitive. But then again, he hasn't used a single push to pass yet, so I think he's saving that for maybe the tail end of the first half of the stint, getting into the second half.
And we'll cycle through onto the left now. The push-to-pass usages there. You can see Vaz is down on 3 of his. You can see Espity, Blocker, Harrington, Marquez, Wood, Kinsella, Lichtenberg. They've all refrained from that urge to get on the button, as you see very close as Saunders coming through that final couple of corners to the rear end of Lichtenberg. Does he get on the button down across the start-finish line? No. He'll wait, I think, until he comes out of turn 2 here, Lorenzo. It's really where we expected the majority of these moves to come. Watch him set this one up then out of this very long right-hand sweeper.
Yeah, looking at Graham Sanders right now, just coming out of the corner. There you go, button used by Graham Sanders. Let's see if he's going to make the connect the move. Goes on the inside, braking is deployed, and easy come, easy go, and move done by Graham Sanders, 1 place up.
Yeah, I don't think Lichtenberg was in the mood to fight that one too aggressively at this point in the race. Working lap 10 out of 42, so... and not yet into the pit window. Expect that to open about halfway through this race. As you see, Wood is now on the button. And as mentioned, Lorenzo, that wasn't to attack anyone. That was to defend from Rashad Craig, who seems to have got a much better run coming out through turn 8 than Wood did as we ride on board now with the number 17 machine.
Yeah, Wood just went way too off-wide into the exit of the corkscrew, and that allowed Rashad Craig to come in, and that's why he had to deploy the button. Otherwise, Craig would have made the move possible, and maybe even before the roller coaster could have been reached. But good defense so far from Wood. That's his first push to pass.
And we were saying, Lorenzo, this can be a tough track to pass at, but I will say that when these guys make this moves happen, you see Wood back on the button now. This is a definite attempt to try and get on past Marquez down the inside into turn 5, excuse me, he goes, and once more, and not fighting it too hard, and that's what we're seeing here. You can get moves done, you just need a little bit of assistance from that car that you're actually getting the move done on.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a cohesion between drivers, right? It's a gentleman. I don't know if I can say it's a gentleman's agreement of sorts. You know, I'm going to take you, and we're not going to try to go into a very risky move into the roller coaster, because both corners are very tricky, right? that hairpin is really tricky for you to nail it down, especially on the outside to get a good run, and then try to overtake on the roller coaster again. Takes commitment.
To the inside, Benjamin Gregory, last of the late break as he tries to get the move done on Rashad Craig. Opens the door up for Kinsella, though, as he's unable to get it done. Oh, that was, you're talking about Daniel Ricciardo moves there, Lorenzo. I think that's the epitome of it. Urban Dictionary, get the GIF in there as soon as you can.
Just opening up open up your toolbox, right? If you have a lemon, let's try to make a lemonade out of it, right? Let's take a look on the replay on that move from Gregory. Look at the commitment, late move, commitment. Just seeing on the inside, room was open, and nearly got it done, but a good attempt nevertheless.
Yeah, look at Kinsella. He gets the viewers a slight lockup of the right front from Gregory. I think that almost sends him into the path of Craig, but look at the respect being shown across of these three drivers. They all know that you can not win the race just yet, but it would be very, very simple for them to throw it away. And as we jump back to live pictures, just as crazy as when we left it, Sanders now back onto the rear end of this, but as expected, Lorenzo, it's going to be much tougher for him now on slightly more worn rubber to get these moves done as easily as it was before.
And also the aero push is going to come into effect more so than ever, right? Because the tire is worn, you're burning out fuel, your car's slightly lighter as well. So you're going to be coming out of the corners maybe a little bit faster than usual, maybe with some understeer on it. But then again, you really don't want to risk while your car is understeering through a corner and then have to commit.
We saw Dubois make a wonderful move down into Charlotte's Web before. Now he looks to the outside, rolls the momentum wonderfully. He will still have the overlap heading down the hill into the museum. Side by side, they will work. I think Bodefer just about able to hold on. Oh, I am loving this, Lorenzo. It's not the typical type of wheel-to-wheel action that gets people excited, but this is calculated, and we still have all 19 cars out on track right now.
Yeah, we have all 19 cars, and this is where I really want to keep it on the track, guys. Please, the more cars we get, the more coverage we can actually provide, and and I'm loving this so far. And Dubois nearly making that movement and actually Bodefer had to activate the push to pass to defend.
Yeah, he did, you know. He's down to 6 left for the day, and we're not even halfway through this one, so interesting little strategies. And for newcomers to the series, we saw Gustas Grinbergers last week, Lorenzo, at Long Beach. I think not really understand how to use that, and we in fact talked to him about that in the post-race interview as well. It's not like the system works in the real world where you'd get a certain number of seconds to deploy the extra power that you get. Here it's, you know, a set number of usages. They burn for a certain amount of time as well, and very much if you're not familiar with how it works and the various ways that you can really maximize their effectiveness on the iRacing service, you find yourself having a lot of catch-up to do.
Yeah, but fortunately for him, actually got a little bit lucky with traffic in a few instances of why he didn't have to rely on the button so much. But at the beginning of the race, he was using it like, I'm trying to find a good analogy over here, but I just cannot find one.
Like a bat out of hell?
Leave it, yeah, like a bat out of hell. That's pretty much nail on the head. But managed to get rewarded with the podium position. So, hey, sometimes turning your push to pass sometimes works.
And I will say, very young kid, also drives in the real world for various teams. He's won races in the Asian Le Mans Series as well. He's a very talented young driver and always makes me feel slightly untalented, as do many drivers, I must say, on the iRacing service. Brandon Trainer, by the way, has popped back into our YouTube chat to say Adam Blocker OP. Blocker OP indeed. There's Adam Crane working his way through the very fast left-right kink. No dirty air to speak of, though, Lorenzo, because the gap between first and second up to 2.3 seconds, and, well, Riley Thompson is now 8 seconds adrift of the race leader.
It fluctuates a little bit depending on the corners and how they take it. Right now, gap went down about 2.1 seconds. Oh, go ahead.
That was Rashad Craig, wasn't it? Yes, it was. The Rebellion-colored machine down the hill at the museum. I wonder if this is any contact, Lorenzo, or if it's all by himself. Spool up the wonderful RaceSpotTV replay machine. It's side by side with Andrew Marquez. Ooh, that's going to be all by himself.
Yeah, and he got lucky, to be very honest, because that could have been a wing-to-wing contact. I don't know who that was, though. It looks like Andrew Marquez in my vision, but I can be very wrong.
It is Marquez. It's so close between the two of them. Oh no, a second incident to take a look at as well. Let's go straight to it for Ben Gregory. Coming in through the last couple of corners, Graham Saunders looking very, very feisty behind. And, loses it by himself. Does he? Yes, he does. Noses it into the wall. How significant is the damage then, Lorenzo? Let's jump on board and take one more look.
Yeah, let's take a closer look over here on the right above the head cam, and hitting head hard, face first into the wall, then hitting it with the back as well. He's backed into the pits. You can see the car is damaged with some suspension. That's race over for Ben Gregory. So
that is a shame. I tell you what, though, let's go take one more look at the Richard Craig incident from the onboard perspective of Andrew Marquez, if we can. I want to see how close does he get to making contact here, Lorenzo. Wonderful visor cam. The front wing, it's not sure if it wants to be damaged or not there. Yeah, it's like it's showing the RNG if we're gonna talk a little bit about gaming relative terms, right? But looking at the wing, in my perspective, it looks clean, so it is not damaged whatsoever. Judging by the lap as well, 108.945. It has to be tires, but it doesn't look like damage. Yeah, I think he got very, very fortunate with that one. As close as you can get when you're racing at these speeds across the globe, as some of these drivers are, to a near disaster. Down the hill then for Marquez. Now he's got Kinsella and Graham Saunders for company. You run through the very quick left-right kink, the flip-flop as I like to call it. In dirty air, it really does feel awful, is one word for it. But Saunders looking aggressive once more. Might try and get the over-under here as we jump on board with Saunders as through the penultimate corner. You see Adam Crane on the bottom top left of your screen as well, trying to close the gap to Blocker, which has now extended beyond 3 seconds. Saunders looking closer and closer on the run down into turn 1, and he's had a mistake doing that once before, Lorenzo. No such issues this time. I think the move's coming very shortly here. Yeah, as they come out of 2, heading into 3 and then 4. Let's see if he deploys the button. Actually, he does. So here we go. Move will be done by Graham Saunders into the braking. A little bit late than usual. Gives room for Marquez to run on the outside. And it also comes, I think that is Andrew Kinsella as well, to try to capitalize the move. And they go side by side into the roller coaster. Oh, Kinsella, he's going to try and do the same thing that we saw. Craig spun around. He locks the inside front down the hill, but he makes it work. And the Canadian up into 13th position. Saunders and Kinsella both up 6 on the day respectively now. Next target, Andrew Wood, a further 2 seconds up the road. Oh, that one was a close one. Let's see if we can go spool up a replay there of that one, Lorenzo, because it was very, very bold from Andrew Kinsella to make that one stick. And I think that's where you know the quality of driver that Kinsella, who has won multiple races in the various iRacing leagues over the years, brings to the iRacing official community as well. On the button, and side by side he goes. Yeah, looking on the outside, it doesn't look like he's going to have the room to work with, but then full riding the curve, basically riding like a bull, and somehow, some way, the car just keeping it straight out of the curbing, because sometimes, depending on how bad you take that thing, the car just decides to basically bump. John Bodefer all by himself down the hill into the museum complex, and a wonderful run for 6th position. Well, it's the RaceSpotTV commentator's curse, it would appear, or at least the production curse, as every time we turn our attention to one of these Alpine-sized geodesic racing cars, Lorenzo, it seems to have bad things happen for them. Yeah, something happens for them, and luckily for Bodefor, he hasn't got a major damage. It was just a major escape, just losing control of the car into the corkscrew, losing many places in the process, but keeping the car clean. But the tires are gone. On board, let's see here. Oh, and the rear end actually steps around in a very surprising and interesting fashion. Let's take one more look at this. I'm not exactly sure what goes on here in terms of car balance. It's an odd one, Lorenzo, but at the end of the day, he's very, very lucky to get away with that. Let's come back to live pictures, though, because pit road is a very busy place. As you see, Adam Crane is working his way up to speed on those cold tires, slots in right in front of Andrew Marquez behind John Bodefer. This is a crucial part of the race now, Lorenzo, for both Adam Crane and Connor Harrington, who are making their way off of pit road on their outlap now.
Yeah, I think Crane is trying the strategy of, going for the undercut. But here's the thing. I don't think, that's my opinion, of course. Barber is a track that you can go for the undercut because you might get stuck in traffic in quite some places. But then again, I'm a commentator. I have zero skills with the IndyCar, just so prove me wrong, boys.
Well, it's not just Adam Crane down onto pit road as you see Connor Harrington on the button trying to make up some time on this potential undercut. Yao Vaz, the former iRacing World Championship contender, makes his way down onto pit road in the Dallara IR18. Up on the jacks, fresh set of rubber, full tank of fuel, 9.1 seconds stationary. Adam Crane is already flying his way through turn 2. Where does Vaz feed out Lorenzo? He's got some clean air. That will be important. Crane, though, still stuck in some relatively dirty air behind John Bodefer. Crucially, though, he was, 4 seconds, give or take, behind Adam Blocker, so it might not help in terms of him trying to get on past, but for Riley Thompson, who was already a further 7 seconds adrift, I don't think Adam Crane has too much to worry about there.
No, I think not at all. He's on his own because Riley Thompson just tucks it into the pit lane. Will do his pit stop. I think might be the same. Austin Aspedy staying for one more lap. So a few drivers stretching it out that feel for an extra lap.
And of course, with testing for that iRacing IndyCar series that gets underway this week, longer races, a strategy might be even more important. Harrington is very, very eager to use the button as Blocker off of pit road very comfortably will cycle back into the net race lead. As where is Adam Crane? Well, Blocker comes out right next to Andrew Wood. Not ideal for the Team Talent driver who will have to try and get on past while Blocker gets his tires up to temperature here, Lorenzo. At the end of the day, though, like mentioned, not going to be such a factor because there's Crane working his way up the hill as well.
Yeah, and the advantage that he has for Crane is quite of a lengthy gap so far. I'm just taking a look over here. Looks like around 8 seconds between both drivers. So as long as Adam Blocker doesn't make a mistake, he's in a prime position.
He really is. He's in overall in 6th. Adam Crane in 10th while still being net 2nd. So just shows exactly how important it is to cycle yourself out in the right phase. Here comes Espety down onto the very interesting pit road. Of course, I think it was Max Chilton getting together with I forget who. Last time around, Liam Quinn as well, also down onto the lane. Looks like Tyler Dubois, Cesar Manzano, they're able to stretch it one lap further. Saunders down onto pit road, Andrew Marquez as well, Brendan Lichtenberg. This is the lap when I think a number of drivers have committed to try and come down on the lane. You are seeing, by the way, it's been Connor Harrington burning his first 3 push-to-passes on the day here, Lorenzo. He's really, really trying to get out in front of a number of cars down on the lane right now.
Yeah, so he's making the push so far, and I really appreciate it. Again, that's why I like this track a little bit so far. It has those different strategies that can usually work it out, and you might get a position up, and not because of because you're trying something extra. But go ahead.
Was that Brendan Gregory? I think it was. Out of turn 2 on the outside through the gravel, as all sorts of switch-arounds happen in pit road. RaceSpotTV replay to take a look at, and for Ben Gregory. Oh, no. No. New damage model, Lorenzo. Really not playing too kindly here, and Gregory slides off into the gravel.
Yeah, that's a major F, to say the least, and unfortunately, Gregory tucks back into the pit lane, and that's race over for the number 19 car, the bottom car in the split. He was doing really good, unfortunately. This track, it bites you in the worst places possible.
It really takes no prisoners. Crane across the line now. Cycles up into 6th through this pit stop cycle as you see Tyler Dubois is still out there working lap 24 of the stint. Cesar Manzano, Andrew Wood, Andrew Kinsella, and Rashad Craig are all doing the same thing as looks like Adam Blocker has just gotten past the Team Talent driver. I wonder if maybe his teammate will follow on through. Both of these drivers yet to come down onto pit road, Lorenzo. I wonder if they've been doing some fuel saving, and now we'll have a slightly shorter pit stop in this final stint of the race.
Yeah, it's going to be it's an interesting call. You try to stretch it out as much as you can. You're already past the 50%. You're heading about 55%-ish of this race. And You're going for a shorter strain, having better tires. But then again, you're probably going to be contending for more of the top 5 to maybe top 10, depending on circumstances. So some interesting, again, interesting strategies. But I think the biggest loser, in my opinion, has to be Adam Crane, because he had to find Joe Bodafor for a few laps and got blocked and thrown back just because of using push to pass and not being able to pass.
Oh, and Connor Harrington, he does represent the private label team Hype Machine. His teammates with Team Talent in association, and I got very close to the rear end of his teammate Espity. Adam Blocker is using the first of his push to passes over the last couple of laps. I think glory hunting at this point wants the fastest lap, and while it doesn't score points in this iRacing IndyCar Open Championship, Lorenzo, of course, when the NTT IndyCar Series gets underway this coming weekend from this very track as well, stuff like that will be at the forefront of drivers' minds.
Absolutely, and that might be the thing number 1, 2. I'm not going to say 3, because 3 has a little bit of a longer stuff. And plus, really quickly, Arjuna, Andrew Kinsella had a bit of a runoff into the corkscrew, cutting the corner into the second portion.
Well, seems to have weathered the storm as he works his way down onto pit road. Manzado as well. Final couple of cars then to do this, as you will see Blocker, Crane, they'll cycle out to first and second. Thompson and Vaz, the gap between those two cars has really come on down. Yao Vaz now finds himself only 1.6 seconds behind Total Downforce Racing's Riley Thompson here, Lorenzo. The World Championship driver in the past. Well, he's not really got too much experience, I think, in this IndyCar, but it really doesn't take long for the cream of the crop to figure out what it takes to go fast, and Yao Vaz is going very fast right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Aussie driver will do with Riley Thompson. He's pushing that car. He's pushing the very limit of that car and trying to get closer. There's still a few ways back, but just judging by the pace alone, he has a lot of laps to make up. And if he continues like that, getting 4/10 per lap in a consistent fashion, Riley Thompson is going to be in a world of hurt.
Side by side, Graham Saunders and Andrew Wood as they plunge their way down into the museum. Wood has the inside. Will he hold on to the position as well? The geodesic machine sweeps around the outside once more. A beautiful pass down that complex into the braking zone. And I must say, Lorenzo, we've, other than Benjamin Gregory, still got the 18 cars out there. So unfortunately for Ben, who has popped into our YouTube chat and said, well, unfortunate mistake that happens there. It's been really close racing, and Barber, I mean, didn't expect it to have this type of action, but it's been great. And for Saunders, he's up 8 on the day. One only wonders what might have happened without that slight little mistake.
Yeah, I would have wondered as well. Maybe he probably would have been in the top 10, maybe fighting for top. I'm going to be a little bit bold here, saying top 7 or top 6 in my opinion. Just because he was having that good pace, but that mistake kind of threw him back. He had to reset, unfortunately. But hey, that's racing, you know. Sometimes you do really good, and just a blink of an eye, you do a mistake, and you have to reset yourself mentally, physically, and then also in the sim as well. So it happens.
And Adam Blocker knows that for sure. I mean, a couple of Mondays ago at the Green Hell, Blocker with some mistakes of his own did bounce back to see some relatively good points in his championship bid. You can see he's down now to 6 push-to-passes left on the day, Lorenzo. Fastest lap of 107.193. Last time was a 291. Hey, he's really pushing that advantage now up to 6.5 seconds. And once more, Blocker in dominant form as we head into now a couple of weeks where we head to the ovals. Next time out will be at Milwaukee Mile, one of the oldest speedways in operation, not just in America, but across the globe as well. A very different challenge to what the drivers have had to deal with today.
Yeah, we're actually going to a doubleheader. We had a doubleheader of roads. We had Long Beach, and then we have here at Barber. Then we go into Milwaukee Mile and Texas Motor Speedway, which are, in my opinion, 2 different. Of course, it is obvious. 2 different tracks, 2 different styles of oval racing. It's going to be some interesting. I think Texas might be the biggest. I think it might be the biggest. I'm trying to find the better word, but it might be the biggest difference maker in this championship because it is so much different. It has a different race every single lap that you do. So it should be an interesting race. I think more so than Milwaukee, in my opinion.
Oh, interesting there. Texas, I mean, the new Texas, Not necessarily known for the Indy cars going there. Of course, when the testing
More NASCAR, yeah.
Yeah, more NASCAR. And I was referring to the testing that happened over the past couple of months where drivers said the outside grooves through 1 and 2 are still very much a no-go zone for an NTT Indy car. So that will be crucial, and curious to see how that race plays on out. Liam Quinn in 9th position in that battle for 7th. Tyler Dubois, Cesar Manzado, 7th and 8th. Saunders in the top 10 now, trying to close in on this group of cars. Still the potential, I would say, for a 7th here for Saunders. That would be a great result after working his way up in the field after a disappointing qualifying. Other drivers that have worked their way up through the field. Here's Henry Bennett up into 12th. So down 9 positions on the day, Lorenzo. But at the end of the day, when you make a mistake like that so early on with no safety cars, Bennett has really made the most of a bad situation, leading this championship.
Yeah, I'm liking what Henry Bennett has been able to do so far. Of course, he got I rating and safety rating in this race, so I rating wise, I think Bennett's not going to be satisfied one bit. But then again, you're having a really good rhythm. You're actually getting a little bit closer to Andrew Wood lap by lap. It is 2.8, 2.3 seconds, but a really good recovery from Henry Bennett and the Braves so far.
Kinsella is also up 6 in 13th position, so he's not been able to make moves with the ease of someone like Graham Saunders, but very much still working his way up through the field. Blocker, by the way, down to 4 uses left on the day, through the flip-flop in towards the roller coaster section. Let's jump on board with this wonderful angle we get inside the aero screen. Over the top of the hill you go, and you want to get down onto the throttle, but the car is always slipping and sliding away from you through this penultimate corner. It's always understeering as you try and set up on the right side to carry momentum through the final corner across the start-finish line. What's the time for Adam Blocker? A 107.174. It is a new fastest lap on the day, and every other car at this point, Lorenzo, unless they are abusing the button, is in the 108s. You've got a couple of cars like Graham Saunders who have kept themselves in the high 107s, but he still only set his fastest lap the last time around, a 107.879. Now the pace from Adam Blocker, it is exceptional today.
It is exceptional today. The consistency also for Blocker is just downrightly insane. 107, like the 3 last laps, 107.1, 107.4, 107.3, and then a 107.2. It's just insane what Adam Blocker is doing. Of course, some of those laps were assisted by the push pass. I think the fastest lap was actually assisted by the push to pass. It's still insane pace coming out of Adam Blocker.
I must say as well, I mean, heading into what is the most crucial of the months for the iRacing IndyCar community, road pace is not necessarily the marker for performance that you want to focus yourself on, but I mean, ultimately, it's at this point, it's one of those indicators for pace, and all the teams are working hard, Lorenzo. We are just over, at this point, 2 weeks away from getting into the month of May. All eyes will be on the iRacing Indy 500. We've still got the 24 hours of the Nürburgring to get our way through, so another special event for us to focus on first, but that's when we'll start focusing on that. The iRacing Indy 500, the fixed 500 a week before that as well, and for all of these teams, that is what they really, really want to win.
Yeah, they really want to win the main pod, right? So they're never going, like a poker player never goes for the side pod, he goes for the main pod every single time, right? So that's what the teams are going. Of course, the fixed 500, it matters, you know, it's something to put on your portfolio, but a win the one with the open setup, that is a whole different thing. To be very honest, I really want to give it out a try, and I'm seeing some teams starting the preparation back down in February. Is just downrightly insane for me.
And it's one of those special events as well. We were talking in the community a couple of days ago where people actually care about who wins the other splits because you get the same faces that show up, and therefore the level of competition and the level of commitment from those drivers is just as high, and therefore there are records about who won on a Friday, who won on the Sunday after the main event as well. And while there are only, I think it's 11 or 12 victors in the main iRacing Indy 500, is a rich history and a deep legacy of not just top splits, but so many people getting onto the iRacing service and being able to be part of an iRacing Indy 500. Adam Blocker once more on the button. I think trying to get down below the 106s, into the 106s at this point in time. Gap now to Adam Crane is almost up to 10 seconds. Interestingly though, Lorenzo, the gap to João Vaz between Riley Thompson, that battle for that third and final step on the podium. Vaz has kind of slipped on back. He's now 4 seconds adrift from Thompson at this point.
Yeah, looking at the laps here, 108.4, 108.7. So there's some good consistency on the 108s, but Riley Thompson turned it up a notch, right? 108 low, 107, 108.1, and then 108.3. Just so every single lap he's distancing himself bit by bit by bit from João Vaz, and not letting the Portuguese driver coming in closer. But then Riley Thompson just had a scary moment coming into 1 and then 2. The car just got really loose and nearly went off wide.
They are pushing each other tooth and nail, I must say. Very much enjoying the fact that so many strong drivers are now making their way into this IndyCar. On board with Saunders, still running up in the top 10. As once more, Adam Blocker on the button. Last time was a 107.543. Not sure if the tires are starting to fall off very slightly. On the button is Saunders as well. He's got 5 uses left. He'll sling it down the inside of Liam Quinn in the purple Team Talent machine. Saunders gets that one stopped very, very easily. And back up into 9th position. Cesar Manzardo, the next target, 9/10 of a second down the road. And like I said, potential, I would say, for a top 7 here. And Connor Harrington, is only 3.7 seconds further up the road from Tyler Dubois here, Lorenzo. So you never know if Graham Saunders goes on the charge of a lifetime here. He might still manage to drag himself back into the fight here.
Basically, it's a tricky one. Basically, you would have to put Adam over Graham Saunders, just giving us a little bit of a scary moment. You would have to put Adam Blocker lap times consistently lap after lap after lap and not lose time when making the overtakes, because you're running out of time. You basically have about 8 to go here on Birmingham. So you need to make every lap work. And at this point of the track, I don't think Graham Saunders will have that ground to make up to get to Connor Harrington. Then again, I've seen things being proven wrong once and once again.
Well, he's trying to get on the button. Of course, took victory in, I think, dramatic fashion. It is about as eloquently as one could say it at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I must say, I'm really hoping we don't take another 12 months to go back there, Lorenzo, because it is just such a fun combination, an interesting combination as well, one that you would never, ever think about doing in the real world anymore with safety regulations where they are. But it's such a raw combination, encourages you to really pedal the car all the way around the 22 kilometers or so, 160 corners, and it's just so much fun, and encourages new people to come their way onto the iRacing service as well.
It does, you know. Indy Pro, by the way, Indy Pro was at Nordschleife this past week, right? So there isn't a huge gap. There wasn't a huge gap between the IndyCar and the Indy Pro. Of course, the Indy Pro is much slower. I tried the Indy Pro at Nordschleife. It's just outrageously insane. I could barely go full send into some of the corners, but it is a very exhilarating process. I did actually try the Dallara one, the IR18 into Nordschleife a little bit, but I'm a total failure, so let's keep it at that.
Well, you also tried this Dallara IR18 at Barber Motorsports Park, and take a look at the track conditions once more. It's cooled off by just a couple of degrees since we got underway. What were the lap times that you were doing, Lorenzo? I'm not trying to make it seem like you're not a capable driver, but let's just big up some of the names here, because I got word in the IndyCar community Discord that strength of field, 4,200. That is quite high for a Monday night here on the roadside.
This is a quite high, to be very honest. If I had signed up, I would have said Ben Gregory. I would have stolen your slot, to be very honest. I would have been the last car in the grid. I'm at 32.05. But my lap times, when I was doing actually some quick recognition out of this track, I did it. My best lap was a 10.06, but the track conditions were much hotter than this, with 45 degrees on the track, so I would have been a little bit faster, maybe 109.
Sorry, Lorenzo. Both Manzardo and Saunders on the button now, so they are feeling the pressure. 6 laps to go here. A slightly wide from Manzardo opens the door for Saunders. Neither of them on the button as they work their way down into turn 8, and Manzardo does not even fight that one back, Lorenzo.
Yeah, I think he made the right move. You really don't want to go side by side into the roller coaster and endanger your position. You're doing so well into this race so far. You're probably getting some iRating and some safety rating, so don't risk it so far this late in the race.
Can also see Andrew Wood and Henry Bennett having their own little duel over 11th and 12th. Half a second separates those two cars. Henry Bennett's teammate Andrew Kinsella is a couple of tenths further back, and John Bodefer, Graham Saunders' teammate who we're riding on board with right now, has a potential to maybe work his way back up into 11th. Yeah. Still got some close groups here as Adam Blocker uses his final push to pass of the day. He has extended that gap up to 11.6 seconds. And I think it shows you, Lorenzo, that, I mean, at a track like this, pole position is so important. He has controlled this race. He's not had to worry about lap traffic either, and it's basically been the smoothest kind of a day that he could have hoped for.
Yeah, I think the smoothest day so far. If I recall correctly, I'm trying to remember, in real life, I think basically every racer...
Oh no, Dubois! No, Dubois has lost it by himself, and what was looking like a very impressive 9th position in a race where he'd also made some incredible passing opportunities. It looks like, unfortunately for Tyler Dubois, late race mistake. At the same time, John Weidendorf has lost his own car and had to tow back down onto pit road. Lorenzo, let's take a look at these replays as quickly as we can. Just rear steps out in a very bizarre fashion here. We'll have to spool it back up and maybe take a look at this aerial look here.
Yeah, looking at the area over here, the car just goes into the inside curb on the first portion of the roller coaster, actually the mid portion of the roller coaster, and he clips the grass slightly, but I think that is enough to make the car get a little bit loose towards the outer portion.
Was that Graham Saunders who just made contact with John Weidendorf? Yes, it was. Take a look at this one, Lorenzo.
No.
I'm not exactly sure what happens here. Weidendorf, I think, is just trying to get out of the way and let them go. I'm not sure if Saunders is looking at maybe a stream chat, which, let's be honest, is a very real possibility for the Twitch streamer here. Take a look at this onboard.
Yeah, looking at the onboard as they come out of the roller coaster, they're going to go for the big path. And yeah, that's... How did Graham's standard cars get in one piece? I'm amazed.
I'm not sure, but he has gotten very, very lucky with this new damage model. That is for sure. A bizarre incident there. Does mean he's in 7th, comfortably 1.5 seconds clear of Cesar Manzardo. And 9th would be Liam Quinn, and then 10th place is Andrew Wood. Oh, interesting one there, Lorenzo.
Okay. I know that is a scare, all right.
Well, getting word in the YouTube chat that he was watching in his mirror. So not reading the YouTube chat, which, let's be honest, I mean, which Twitch streamer has not had that happen to them, Lorenzo?
Definitely not me. Just kidding.
We need to get the receipts. That's what we need. Bodefer looks to the inside of Kinsella. Wonderful look that we get here at the braking zone in towards Charlotte's Web. You've got the Spider that's very menacingly looking on the right-hand side of the track there as you sweep your way through the double left-hander. Very much works like a double apex corner as well. But this is the battle now for 10th position as a result of that unfortunate incident for Tyler Dubois. Final couple of laps to go then as Adam Blocker works his way through Charlotte's Web here, Lorenzo. Dominant day for him, and a race that I think as well will swing the championship back in his favor here.
It should, you know, it will give him a lot of momentum going to Milwaukee and then possibly Texas. And, man, I think this is the worst case scenario race for Henry Bennett. You know, strength of field, you have a chance to stretch it out, and then on lap 1, you lost the brakes and you get a shot back to last place and had to recover. Still clinging into the top 10.
I was going to say, still got a couple of opportunities to get on the button. He's using that extra power, trying to get down into that downhill braking zone, but not able to pull up alongside. His teammate gets a slightly better run through turn 5 that works its way into 6 and then 7. White flag in the air, though. Adam Blocker makes his way down through turn 2. Dominant day for the Powerslide Motorsports driver. Of course, he will be heading back to Indianapolis for the month of May and all of the duties that come with his role as a trackside engineer. Oh no, John Bodefer on that penultimate lap of this race. Another mistake through the downhill museum section, excuse me. Seem to still think I'm back in Long Beach. Take a look at this replay, Lorenzo. Very quick look at the incident here.
And all on his own, and just clipping the curb, and the curb decided to pay back and offset the car right in the middle of the apex. That was a little bit dangerous, but luckily Butterford just keeping it tidy.
It was a similar mistake to what we saw before, but luckily not the same drastic consequences for his race. Out of the final couple of corners, though, I'm being told there's a debate about whether this is the best track on the IndyCar schedule. I'm not going to get involved in that one. The one thing I know, Adam Blocker back to his winning ways here in Birmingham, Alabama, live from the Barber Motorsports Park. Once more victory on a Monday night, and that championship picture should swing back in his favor. We've still got battle to turn our attention to. You'll see push-to-pass usages. If I throw the timing tower up one more time, we'll pick up the battle on the edge of the top 10, because these are the cars that are separated by almost nothing. Andrew Wood in front of Henry Bennett as Bennett's teammate Kinsella was on the button trying to take a look. Oh, they'll go side by side through the roller coaster section. I think they might go too wide coming in through the final corner. Kinsella will sling it around the outside of his teammate. Andrew Wood has lost it by himself. Chaos here in the final couple of laps. Henry Bennett will hold on for a 10th position, and that might be crucial, Lorenzo, in the championship picture.
Wow, that is a very vital mistake for Andrew. Henry Bennett has nothing to do with this. We'll say thank you very much. Give me those points. Man, the championship. Oh, I can't wait to see the points updated.
What is it with this season as well, Lorenzo? I mean, right from the off, we had Adam Blocker and Brandon Traino crashing at the Auto Club Speedway. Then Adam Blocker losing it by himself, not once, not twice, at the Green Hell. It's just been absolute insanity. And, well, at Birmingham, Alabama, I am excited because this weekend, the NTT IndyCar Series gets underway as well. And that means real IndyCars out on track for the first time in 2021.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to see that in 2021, and very good beginning to the season. Can't wait to see those cars in track this weekend as well.
Well, Adam Blocker with his celebratory donuts then on the start-finish line. Wonderful return to competition for him. Seems to have plenty of fuel to keep going. He's familiar with what it takes to keep one of these engines running in his trackside role with Ilmore Engineering. How long can he go? I wonder how dizzy he is in VR as well. At the end of the day, though, he is victorious. Let's go ahead and take a look at our final race results. Adam Blocker victorious by almost 14 seconds from Adam Crane, VRS Satellite Racing driver, who does start his own title defense this week from the Barber Motorsports Park as well in the 2021 iRacing IndyCar Series. Riley Thompson with a very good podium position for him. Couple of days of success in the IR18 for Thompson. Yao Vaz for Yas Heat on a debut on a Monday night. Impressive fourth for him. Be hoping to find a little bit more speed compared to someone like Adam Blocker. Austin Espety across the line in fifth. Connor Harrington in sixth position, up 7 positions on the day, but the hard charger really is Graham Saunders for the Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing Team. He's up 11 on the day. Cesar Manzado drops down into 8th position. Liam Quinn in 9th. Henry Bennett, after a lap 1 mistake, finishes in the top 10, at least recovers some championship points in a very strong field. Andrew Kinsella, his teammate, across the line right behind in 11th. Rashad Craig in 12th. Andrew Wood with the late race mistake drops down to unlucky number 13, with Tyler Dubois, John Bodefer, Andrew Marquez, and Brendan Lichtenberg all staying on the lead lap. And then 2 retirees, John Weidendorf and Benjamin Gregory, completes our 19-car grid. Fastest lap there, you'll see, Lorenzo, 107.174 by Adam Blocker on lap 30 of this race.
Yeah, just casually using that push to pass to propel him into that fastest lap. Really good action from Adam Blocker. Dominant effort, not he leaving one room forever to let everybody else to come and try to take the crown out of him on this track. And then again, climbing himself. All those points matter, Arjuna. Can't wait to see what Milwaukee brings, and then Texas will bring, and then Adam Blocker certainly will be ready for those tracks.
I tell you what, let's bring in your race winner now. Adam Blocker, congratulations on a victorious return to a Monday night. How does that feel, knowing that this championship is really wide open with your own real-life commitments and then the various other championship contenders vying for that title?
I have no idea. I haven't looked at the points at all, but yeah, it was just good to win a race. I came in kind of expecting to have some good pace, and the field was really strong tonight. Really good to see that, and I think Indy Open is as strong as it's been for a while. And yeah, I was really happy with my pole lap. It was a really good lap, and yeah, then just ended up. I kind of struggled in the first stint a little bit, to be honest. Really just wasn't super comfortable with the car. We were trying some new things, and car felt a little bit different. But yeah, second stint I kind of got it hooked up, and it felt good. So.
Well, Adam, you'll be heading to Barber and the track here at Birmingham, Alabama later this week for your own responsibilities. What's your thoughts on this track? We had some debate in the community Discord and the YouTube chat as well. It did deliver some great passing, and we saw some very committed moves under braking here. You didn't have much of that. You had the track to yourself for the most part and set some very quick lap times. It must be a fun one when you're out there with the push-to-passes to power you down a little bit faster into a place like the roller coaster section to really experience the thrill of a track like this.
Yeah, I mean, this track's crazy. Like, the amount of elevation change and how technical it is and how fast some of the corners are, it's a really cool track. And it also races pretty decent in these cars. Like, obviously it's not easy to pass, but it offers a good variety to the schedule, and that, like, it's a track where you can pass, but it's hard. But yeah, I mean, like, normally in real life they have some pretty solid races here, I think. I think the season opener would be pretty cool, and yeah, we normally have some pretty good races here on the sim too, so yeah, I like it personally. It's really high commitment though, so like when I lost my rhythm a little bit in the first stint, it's really hard to get the confidence back to really push into some of the high commitment corners with the elevation change and everything.
So we finished up a couple of road rounds now and head into a swing of ovals. First up, the Milwaukee Mile, followed by the Texas Motor Speedway. What does your availability look like? Because, of course, we are heading into the month of May now when you have your own duties to deal with and focus on. And I have a feeling that will take you away from the Monday night competitions for just a little bit of time.
Well, I'll be able to make the next few weeks. I'm definitely looking forward to Milwaukee. That's normally one of my favorite tracks. We don't have a setup at all for it yet, so I'll have to work on that. But yeah, it's normally one of my favorite tracks, and yeah, I think I'll be able to make like the next 4. Then I think Atlanta and Indy Oval are the ones I'm going to miss. But looking forward to the ones I can do. There's some fun tracks in the schedule and strong fields, so yeah, definitely it should be good.
Well, thanks for joining us, Adam. Congratulations on this victory on your return to Monday night, and look forward to seeing you back out next time at the Milwaukee Mile.
Yeah, I just want to thank Henry and Brian for the efforts on the setup, and yeah, thank you guys for calling the race. See you guys in Milwaukee.
See you at Milwaukee, indeed. That was Adam Blocker. Let's bring in our second Adam of the day, Adam Crane, a 2020 iRacing IndyCar Series champion. He's got a title defense that gets underway this very week, and Lorenzo Bonder is standing by.
So Adam Crane, really good race so far. Unfortunately, you didn't have a really good outing out of the pit stop like probably Adam Blocker had, but still managed to capitalize P2. What do you thought about your race so far?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Happy to qualify P2, though 0.4 of a second gap to Adam in P1 is something that we'll have to look at the data and see if we can't improve our Q pace. As far as the race went, I mean, the first stint was about a tenth to a tenth and a half slower than Adam, so once we got time to make a stop, once I got in the window, I figured I needed to manufacture some kind of pressure or maybe a mistake from Adam. So that's why I went with the early stop, but unfortunately, as you said, I sort of got caught up in traffic with people who were running their own races, which is fine, but obviously cost me quite a bit of time and also took a little bit of the goodness of the tire out, which was unfortunate. Once Adam made his stop, he was in a little bit of traffic too, so I was able to gain a little bit of time back, but nowhere near as much as I would have needed to. Yeah, so coming home P2 feels pretty good. I love Barber, so you'll definitely see me here more this week and definitely for the iRacing IndyCar Series. Yeah,
because I really want to touch on that. Now, you have to defend the title. Of course, longer races and the strategy will be key as well. Adam, how much preparation do you think this week gives you coming to a longer race where there will be a lots of pressure? You want to defend your title as best as you can, but then you know the competition is coming in strong.
Yeah, for sure. I love the longer races. It opens up strategy a little bit more. maintaining car balance with inputs and thinking about setup options becomes a lot more important. So the longer races, I'll never say no to. And yeah, for sure. I mean, 42 laps here is good practice. It's good to get into a competitive, constant swing of things. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And finally, you're going into Milwaukee Mile in Texas. What do you think are the strategy or the approaches you have to make into the setup of the car? Because they're two different tracks, right? One is short oval, one is a longer oval, higher speeds. But I believe the car and your preparation must be very different coming to those two tracks.
Yeah, for sure. They're two obviously very, very different tracks, both in terms of setup and feel. We learned a little bit actually from running the Indy Elite 500 and testing for that for our oval program. So we might be able to take some of the stuff that we learned from that race and convert it into something that we can definitely use to make good runs at Milwaukee and Texas for sure. So looking forward to those 2 rounds if I can pull myself away from all my other commitments for sure.
Fair enough. And Adam, again, congratulations on P2, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do in Milwaukee and also this weekend on the IndyCar series.
For sure. Thanks so much.
So that was Adam Crane, the 2020 iRacing IndyCar Series champion. The long road back to defending his title begins this very week, just like the 2021 NTT IndyCar Series gets underway. One final interview to get to, and it is Riley Thompson, and let's bring him in. Riley, first up, congratulations. I've just been reading that you've made a return to the 4K iRating bracket now.
Heck yeah, it's been going downhill for a little bit of time, and hopefully I can start getting it back up for a little bit for once.
Well, a good couple of days for you as well, because yesterday you had the Indy Elite 500, and you said you were running the fixed setup for that one and had a rather good finish for that. I don't suspect that you were running a fixed setup here today. Can you just confirm that one for us?
Yeah, I can confirm that. Luckily, ended up using Liam's set for this one and really had the car under me for once, and I think that was a really huge help for just how the car is around this track.
Okay, well, you can help settle a debate for us, Riley. Barber, Christian Steele has been trying to get me to say it's the best track in the NTT IndyCar schedule.
Steele is right.
Steele's right?
Steele's right.
Oh, okay, then I'm going to have to say that at the end of this broadcast then. Oh, no.
Finally.
Well, okay.
It's about time.
I'll ask you what's your second favorite track, because I'm really excited. This week is Barber week, right? Not just here in the Open Championship, in the iRacing IndyCar Series, and in the real world as well. And I think it's one that, come the end of this week, it might be a little bit worn for some drivers. What are you looking forward to in terms of stuff that we've got coming up later this year?
I've got no idea what's coming up this season, but I think after Elite, leading a few laps at Belle Isle was a really good track. But overall, I mean, it's Indy. Really, any track happens to work out for them. So.
And speaking of Indy, let's talk about the big one itself. For you, entering the month of May, what does it look like? I think you're mostly by yourself at Total Downforce Racing. How does that work in terms of setups and all of the work that goes into it? Because you're not unfamiliar with the monumental challenge of just making the top split itself.
Right now, I'm not sure if I'll go for it. The fix set definitely isn't going to hold up this time, unless you never know. But, heads up to anyone, I may or may not be looking for people to work with for Indy, so, still, if you want me to keep saying you're right, then wink wink.
Maybe i5G has an opportunity for you. Congratulations on this podium then, Riley, and congratulations on a very good couple of days for you as well.
Thanks, guys.
Well, I guess I've got something to admit now, Lorenzo.
Go ahead, please do. I'm waiting for this. I'm warming my hands for this.
I don't know how I can look at the schedule, though, and say that Barber is better than the Nordschleifer, but I guess what I'll say is that on the NTT IndyCar Series schedule, that Barber Motorsports is one of the highlight, and possibly one of my favorite. Coda used to be one of my favorite tracks on the schedule, no longer. But here is our IndyCar iRacing Open Series schedule, Lorenzo. We talked about the two races now of ovals. We'll head to Milwaukee first, then to Texas, and then we'll head to the Circuit of the Americas before the month of May is really spent in Indiana itself. And Riley mentioned Belle Isle. That will be our final round of the season, and we saw drama at Long Beach last time out. The streets of Detroit are going to be paved with championship interest.
It's going to be really interesting, this push to May, right? Hashtag push to May, because now Milwaukee comes. It adds up to the oval ratings, right? And then you also have Texas, which also adds up to the oval ratings. So every oval rating that you get and every preparation that you start to get into the month of May is essential. Then we go into May, start with COTA, first track of the season, then it's all that push towards the 500 into Indianapolis. Can't wait to see these next few weekends here, Arizona. They're going to be very exciting.
It's going to be awesome as well. And just a reminder, it's not just that in terms of action on RaceSpotTV. In just over an hour's time, I'll be back on air with my colleague Justin Prince to call the next round of the Lionheart Speedway Series, this time from the Milwaukee Mile. So if you want a little bit of a preview of what that racing might look like, albeit in the Dallara DW12, stick around on RaceSpotTV. And it's not just that, though. Lots more to come, including a number of American open wheels competitions. So follow us for more sim racing action at RaceSpotTV across YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. If you're not already subscribed to us, hit the red button and the bell next to it to get notified every single time we go live with the great sim racing series we get to cover. I guess it's that time. I better admit it as well. Christian Steele, the Barber Motorsports Park, the best track on the iRacing NTT IndyCar Series schedule. And there's lots more opportunities for you to get involved as well throughout the next 1 week on the iRacing.com servers. Plenty of races here in the iRacing Open Championship, as well as in the returning 2021 iRacing IndyCar Series. No broadcast this year, but lots of intrigue, longer races. A strategy will be key. Who will show up to challenge Adam Crane in the quest for that championship? On Mondays, though, it's Adam Blocker victorious once more in his quest to retain and regain his place at the top of the heap. We'll be back in 1 week's time from Milwaukee to continue this coverage. My name's Arjuna Kankipati. I've been joined by Lorenzo Bonder, as always. Timing provided to us by timing71.org and our partners over there. Additional TV cameras provided by Istvan Ballo and TrackCams22.com, with car cameras provided by RaceSpot's own Tyler Maxon. We'll see you then in 1 week's time from Milwaukee. But for now, so long and enjoy the rest of the iRacing week.